welcome. Today we're going to talk about Eterna Kontiki divers. This is one of the earliest examples, black dialed, Swiss only, hour markers 12, 3, 6, and 9. Really nice case with the Eterna logo on the crown. The 5 ball bearings, which are present in their movements. They're pretty reliable movements. Great clasp here with the Eterna logo on it. This bracelet's by Gay Ferreras. Really nice bracelet. You can see there. This one has a date stamp of 1964. Next up is relatively more uncommon white dial or kind of a silver sunburst dial. This one. It's a little bit smaller than this other example. This one has a date. It's a little more dressy. Another Gay Ferreras bracelet. This one is a more upgraded diver model with the bezel. This one's taking on a lot of patina. The hands are uncommon on this one, so I don't know if they were replaced or if they're original. I have seen other Kontiki examples with this style of hands. This bezel is taking on a blue color. I get a lot of questions about the numbers on the bezel here. These are what are called as no decompression bezels, where this is the depth in meters, 60 meters, for example. So if you were going to dive to 60 meters, you would put the indicator or the index at where the minute hand is, and then you would dive down to 60 meters, and you would know that you would need to start rising. If you went down to a depth of 60 meters, you would need to start ascending to the surface within about 4 or 5 minutes in order to not have to make any decompression stops to avoid the bends as you go up. Obviously, dive computers and modern dive tables have replaced the need for this, but that's what these numbers are. Later, the Super-Kontiki came out, and I assume that the super has to do with the larger case size. This also went from 18 millimeter lugs on this to 20 millimeter lugs on the Super-Kontikis. This one's got a crown that is just a pull-out crown. You don't screw it in. This one has quite a lot of wear on the bezel. It's also a no decompression bezel. This is one of the earlier Super-Kontikis, and on the back you have the gold medallion of the Kontiki raft. This one's a little bit worn. The end links on these earlier bracelets are 14. Later you'll see their KR. And also a Gay Ferreras bracelet here. Next up, this is one of my favorites. This one has, you'll note, it's also a no decompression bezel, but this time it's in feet instead of meters, as you'll see compared to the next one. This one, if you look closely, right in the center of the plexi, there is the Eterna logo just hovering above. You can kind of catch it there. Omega does something similar on the Speedmasters with theirs. It's a nice little touch. This crown, this particular crown, also has the Eterna logo on it. The gold Kontiki logo on the back. This one also has the 14 end links right there. And the Gay Ferreras bracelet here. Next up is the first Super or Kontiki Super that I got. Between these two models, they switched from calling it Super-Kontiki to Kontiki Super. The movements in some cases can be the same, but whereas this was a pull-out crown, these Kontiki Supers, for the most part, have screw-down crowns. One cool thing about these is that to advance the date on these, you simply pull out the crown. So if you look here, the 12, you can hear it click there, and that's it. So great, very distinctive hands on these as well. This one's got the next version of the bracelet with a little, you can see the end links are a little bit different between the two. This is a little bit flatter on the left, and these have a little bit more texture to them. These also have the KR end links, and also still using the Gay Ferrers bracelet. It's a little bit hard to see it there. Yep. Some of these, there's variants that have that were sold into the Mexico market that have bracelets other than Gay Ferrers, and I don't have one of those yet. So another Kontiki Super here. This one's got the logo on the plexi. Catch it right. Another no decompression bezel. You'll note even between these two bezels here, the one on the left has little dots every 5 minutes here, just right in there and there, and then this one has doesn't have those dots. Just minor variations that you tend to notice after you collect a few. Next up is another Kontiki Super. This one has a more typical, 15-minute gradation bezel, taking on a little blue. This one, you can see it's probably been reloomed at some point. You can't see the numbers within the 12, 6, and 9 as you can on this example here. And actually, I'd also note, if you look really closely, the hour hand on this one right here, slightly different shape than the more typical hands you'll find on the hour hands that you'll find on the Kontiki. So I suspect that this hour hand was replaced. And then to round it out, this is the last Kontiki Super in my collection. This really, they took a big departure from the previous models here. This is a really beefy case compared to, compare the two here. This one is a beast on the wrist. I've seen other watches that have a very similar bezel and case. This one has a very loud click to it. Very tough to turn the bezel there. And they call this the cigarette hand on the hour hand. You can see that there. I think this is really probably the end of the line for the Kontiki Supers, really staying true to their roots. And but it's kind of it's a nice watch in its own right as well. So there you have it, the Eterna Kontikis. Thanks again for all your comments and subscription. Just a note on the book, the Marine Nationale book. If you buy the book, just reach out to me on Instagram or send me an email, and I'd love to send you some stickers. Thank you.